Hey guys, it's Jonathan and Lindsay from Wrestling Talking the Shop, and welcome back to the channel. We're going to do Today in Wrestling History. Our regular job keeps us busy on the weekends, and we missed a few days, so we're going to do the 9th through
The 11th.
the 11th in one video.
So, hold on, guys. Starting in on November 9th, 1956, Lou Thez defeated Whipper Billy Watson in St. Louis, Missouri, and to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
What's your favorite Lou Thez match?
It's a little tiny bit before my time.
Yeah, it's a little fuzzy for me as well.
Yeah.
I just remember he had those big cauliflower ears. I'd see him in documentaries and stuff. But anyway.
All right, 1975, Terry Funk and Paul Jones battled for the vacant NWA United States Heavyweight Championship in Greensboro, North Carolina. The belt had only come into existence the January of that year, and Harley Race was the first champion, and it was vacated by the second champion, Johnny Valentine, after the infamous plane crash from which Ric Flair broke his back. Funk won the match, but he only held the belt for less than 3 weeks before dropping it to Jones. In 1997, Survivor Series 97 took place in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and is most famous for
the screw job. I get so tired of hearing about the screw job. We all know that Bret. They had a 20-year contract, and Bret had creative. He had creative control in the last 30 days of how he lost of his contract, and it's a little. It's a little immature on both parties, Vince McMahon and Bret Hart. He essentially Michaels put him in the sharpshooter, and
Ref counted to 3.
He said he tapped out. It was Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner made a whole nother career about it, doing it. But anyways, it's the Montreal screw job. There's several documentaries about it. You can see it in Bret. They're actually filming a Bret Hart documentary about it during the whole time Wrestling with Shadows. And I think, and I remember watching it on A&E. But anyways, and he went to WCW, and they dropped the ball with one of the best wrestlers in the world. But
anyways, he would not come back to WWE until 2010.
Yeah, I believe he was inducted into the Hall of Fame and wasn't even there.
And then in 1999, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a special guest on the episode of SmackDown to promote his new movie, End of Days. On the show, he was presented with his own WWE Championship by Vince McMahon. In the main event of the evening, Arnie decked Triple H during an 8-man elimination match.
Yeah, that time it was the whole Big Eagle Championship belt. I remember that. I remember seeing Arnold with the Big Eagle.
Yep. So he's got his own.
Yeah.
In 2002, Ring of Honor All-Star Extravaganza took place in the Murphy Recreation Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The main event saw Masato Tanaka and defeat Lokai and Steve Corino. Earlier on the card, Xavier defeated Jay Briscoe to retain the Ring of Honor Championship. And then in 2009, on an episode of Monday Night Raw from Sheffield, England, guest host and former boxing world champion Ricky Hatton defeated Chavo Guerrero in a boxer versus wrestler match.
Those back in the old days, they used to have a lot of boxer versus wrestler matches between Chuck Webner and Andre the Giant. But anyways, and Muhammad Ali and Antonio Inoki.
Yeah. And then in 2019, an AEW Full Gear took place in Baltimore, Maryland. It was the first AEW pay-per-view since the brand launched his weekly TV show, Dynamite. In the main event, Jon Moxley defeated Kenny Omega in an unsanctioned lights-out match. The co-main event saw Chris Jericho successfully defend the AEW World Championship against Cody. As per the pre-match stipulation, Cody would never again to be able to challenge for that title. And after the match, Cody's friend, MJF, turned on him with a vicious beatdown.
You could have seen it coming.
A mile away.
Yeah.
And then we're going to move on to the 10th. Starting in November 10th, Dick the Bruiser passed away at age 62. His death was caused by internal bleeding after the unknowingly burst a blood vessel while weightlifting. I didn't know that. In 1993, WCW Clash of the Champions took place in St. Petersburg, Florida. The star-studded card was headlined by Ric Flair retaining the World Heavyweight Championship by DQ against Big Van Vader.
It's Vader time!
Elsewhere on the card, the Nasty Boys defeated Sting and Davey Boy Smith. Rick Rude and Road Warrior Hawk fought to a double countout in the International Heavyweight Championship match, and the Shockmaster beat the Equalizer.
I just got through reading Vader's book. It was very good.
Don't read it at night while you sleep, because you can't sleep. All you do is listen to the book.
I listened to it. I didn't actually read it. But anyways.
In 1997, on an episode of Monday Nitro, Eddie Guerrero beat Rey Mysterio Jr. to win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. In 2000, WCW taped Monday Nitro from London, England, and the biggest news of the night saw Lance Storm defeat General Hugh G. Reaction to win the WCW United States Championship. In the main event, Scott Steiner and Sting defeated Chronic, Brian Clark and Brian Adams. And then 2008, on an episode of Raw, taped in O2 in London, England, William Regal defeated Santino Marella to win the International Championship. And then in 2011, WWE unveiled their logo for the future WWE Network that was eventually launched in 2014. Logo would be adopted by the whole company soon after.
I love the WWE Network, which Peacock is good. Peacock does a good job. I just hope that we get some kind of service after, because the contract with Peacock only goes through next year.
Yeah. So, and then we're moving on to the 11th. We've got 1965, Mad Dog Vachon defeated the Crusher in Denver, Colorado to win the AWA World Heavyweight Championship. In 1987, WWE taped the 13th edition of Saturday Night's Main Event in Seattle, Washington. King Kong Bundy defeated Hulk Hogan via countout in the WWF Championship match. And then in 2007, TNA held the Genesis pay-per-view in Orlando, Florida. The main event, Booker T made his TNA debut as he teamed with Sting in a loss to Kurt Angle and Kevin Nash. And then in 2012, TNA's Turning Point in Orlando, Florida was headlined by Jeff Hardy defeating Austin Aries in a ladder match to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And then in 2020, Jade Cargill made her AEW debut on an episode of Dynamite.
Best debut ever.
It really was. It really was. Interrupting Cody Rhodes and announcing that Shaq would be coming to the promotion. In the same episode, MJF was inducted into the Inner Circle and brought the entire group of tickets to Las Vegas for the following week. In the evening's main event, Penta El Zero Medio, I can never say his name right, defeated Rey Fenix. Pac made his way onto the ramp to announce his return. And then in 2020 on NXT, Leon Ruff upset Johnny Gargano to become the North American Championship. Candice LeRae also defeated Toni Storm, and following the post-match brawl, her masked accomplice revealed herself to be Indy Hartwell. And that's going to wrap it up for Today in Wrestling History. We appreciate you watching if you watch this whole thing, and we'll catch you on the next one.
We try to do better, but some days, one day gets away from you, and the next thing, and it's always something. But
anyways,
thanks for watching.